hardworking, competitive, willing to try new things, and above all, a good sport. When Moira gets frustrated during a game, she doesn't give up. Instead, she digs in, determined to improve, and ultimately win. Even though she is petite in stature, she is a mighty force. And this year, I have come to realize that this unwavering determination also applies to each of her subjects in school. Moira is also exceptionally creative, and her ability to see the beauty in this world is a gift that she shares with us through her art and her writing. Thus, it shouldn't surprise you that Moira has written an incredibly reflective and engaging speech that you are sure to enjoy. So without further ado, Moira Karr.
Hello classmates, teachers, and family. Thank you all so much for coming here today to listen to me and the other two wonderful people present our main functions. On October 13th, 2021, I showed up right here at Collegiate as a shadow. I remember feeling as nervous as a fifth grader could ever be. Now, over 3 years later, I'm here again, still nervous. But this time I'm able to reflect on what has already been done, my achievements, my growth, and my story, instead of what will become. And although the thought of high school is still a looming cloud over me, I'm grateful for the chance to talk to you all simply about me. I would like to start with a quote. Contentment is not the fulfillment of what you want, but the realization of how much you already have, from Anonymous. From the difficulty of Chaturanga Dandasana to the relaxing simplicity of Shavasana, yoga has been one of the things that brings me to movement. Its slow and strengthening way of making you feel confident and strong in any position is why it is a part of my daily routine. The morning sun salutations and the evening focus flows are now essential to waking up and falling asleep. Yoga is a big part of my life, and as I was writing this, I came to the conclusion why. Yoga is not about how you look, but how you feel. I got that quote from one of my instructors at DT. Although I love other sports like lacrosse and field hockey, I most definitely do not feel the same finishing a game or practice as I do finishing a yoga session. After a game, I consider in my head or aloud, why do I keep doing this to myself, or why do I still play this sport? My legs and feet always ache, I'm out of breath, and so tired. But in yoga, I can only think of why I don't do this more. One night, as I was on the beach at my summer camp in Michigan, Minnewaca, I decided to do my own sun salutation. The orange-looking sunset was to my left, along with the soft and strong waves. The quiet hush sound from the water was all around me. The warm sand underneath my toes grounded me in my mountain pose, and as I raised my arms above my head, the breeze from the large lake blew my hair to the right side. Now lowering down into downward facing dog, I lift my right leg up and put it through my hands, warrior one. The connection for myself to the nature surrounding me was unlike any yoga practice. That scene at the water's edge still sits with me, motivating me to do more yoga outdoors. I try to use what I have the most I can, and I realize all the opportunities I have. I am excited for what I will hopefully accomplish for the rest of this year, through both lacrosse season and at home. This year, I finally decided that learning languages is one of my greatest passions in life, and now I'm saying it aloud to you all. The thought of being able to communicate with so many new, different people, and to have learned so many other words is absolutely inspiring to me. Learning new words is something I take joy in, even though memorization isn't easy. French is a subject I put a lot of time and effort into, which makes me realize how much I've grown. It has been 3 years since I first started learning it, but I still remember the first day class. We learned the ABCs, the ABCs. I was sitting in one of the blue plastic chairs, and this man handed out papers. Still to this day, the walls are white and the carpet is blue. I still have my first day's paper now, and I can remember the song. The story continues to sit in my head, reminding me of where I started and where I am now. This change and growth only leads me to think of what could and hopefully will happen in the future. All the time I mention to my parents or my friends how I'm going to move somewhere else, out of the United States and out of this language we are speaking in now. C'est un rêve pour moi de parler français tout le temps, peut-être le Canada, la France, le Suisse, qui sait. Ma leçon m'a dit pour mon temps Moira, Coran. Je mange de la nourriture française et je travaille un travail de français. Peut-être que mon petit bébé dans le futur parlera les deux, anglais et français. Talking about the story of what my future may be like reminds me of how grateful I am to have the chance to visit two of these countries I talk about so often for real this summer. I'm still so grateful that my family has given me this opportunity and so excited for it. I'm also very grateful to have the resources to learn a new language and so much in only 3 short yet long years. Language. For both French and English, the overall goal is to communicate. The goal is to not simply make noises or scribble on paper what the sounds and letters together mean. Information as truth is something we use every day. Where I find it is most interesting is when the words we speak are changed to misleading, biased lies. Over this past summer and earlier this school year in English class, we read and discussed propaganda. We read Animal Farm by George Orwell. In the book, how words and language were able to persuade so many people or animals to work harder and think what was wanted when they think. It's just how powerful speaking can be. Yet even though this book is fiction and was written almost 80 years ago, this topic is still so relevant in today's world. The more I watch the news or hear conversations about our own political state here in the United States, I become more and more surprised. I think knowing what is happening around us, the current events, whether it is in our city, country, or even world, is as important as learning any other subject. I appreciate that we are taught these things, but also how to recognize them in the media. In English class, yes, we are learning about classic standard grammar, but we are also learning about topics that can help us in other ways. I am appreciative of what we are taught because most things I generally do feel like can and will help me out later in life. Every year, I go to my summer camp called Minnewanka with my cousins, my one mom, and my sister. Together, we mess around as staff kids, having the entire camp to ourselves before any of the older participants come. And although having the camp to ourselves is so incredibly fun, without a doubt, the best part of the full 2 weeks are when the participants come. The quiet, mundane peacefulness of the camp is replaced by upbeat music, with multiple buses driving in along with the cheers of the adults. Many hugs get shared, familiar faces are seen, and the games of volleyball and red square begin. The dining hall becomes packed with conversations and smiles as everyone gathers around together. Now, the first dinner is called by a large bell ringing. As I sit down at a table surrounded by my family and friends, the camp city director stands up and explains a few of the things we do at the dining hall. Since he is not here, I want to share my favorite one with you all. In the front of the large hall, there are 4 chairs. Before we start to eat, a volunteer will bring them in any order. At the moment, it is quiet again, with only the feeding chime heard, returning to the once empty room. This is a time where someone might pray before eating, or is suggested by the director thinking about gratitude. And the only thing that came to mind last year was a simple thought of how grateful I was to be there, right then, at the moment, surrounded by people who I love and who love me. Every morning the bell rings again, waking the camp up, and everyone quickly but quietly gets dressed, and we walk outside into the dewy grass. Often it's chilly when the breeze hitting your face is both a shock but also as refreshing. Because of the little wind, the trees surrounding us slightly rustle, giving us a slight bit of noisy comfort when we can all is silent. Once the people are outside, one of the staff offers to lead what we call community. All of the people bring a journal, and we may write whatever we want that morning, as the adult shares a quote of either gratitude or growth, and plays a song sounding either like a soft melody or an empowering anthem. Looking around, everyone is close by, and everybody is together, sitting on different benches, stairs, and rain and grass. Sometimes you sit next to your friend or family member, or alone, but still close by to those who support you. And even though getting up early isn't a choice I would normally make, I try to make it to call to community as often as I can, because it was named Call to Community for a reason. It certainly does make you feel like you are one with the camp, and nature, and community, understanding each other and giving each other peace. It makes you more appreciative of the camp, where you are, and the people around you, like a call to your and our community. Ever since I was old enough to pick up a crayon or pencil, I have loved art. And what is interesting about art I love is that I haven't ever let go of it. Many of what I try seem to be quick interests, things that excite me for about a month or so, and are forgotten, lying somewhere to hopefully be found in the future. Like what Mr. Benson said on the first day of art this semester, art is not an activity or skill, but a lifestyle. As he said this, it really made me think about how my take on art is not what most people assume. It's not something I happen to be good at. It's not something I do in my free time because I like to make people gifts. Art for me is noticing the beauty and the beautiful in things and why it makes them different. For me, it can be realizing I enjoy seeing the snow on the trees and rocks, but it is also so beautiful because of the contrast between the dark of the trees and rocks and the light of the snow. For me, it can be noticing the pretty green color of a birch tree, or the way my sister's eyes look in the sun. I notice these things, and I immediately see them in a way that means more to me than something like rocks. Everything like this I see, I want to paint, or draw, or capture the moment in a photo or book. I want to keep it for my future self to look back at. So that is what I do. I paint and draw and color and everything else an artist would create. The more I simply stop and look at what I see all the time in an appreciative way, I become more aware of what surrounds me and all that I miss. After the big snow fell on us here in Louisville, I went outside and laid in the snow. Although I had played in the snow earlier, like sledding and breaking large sheets of ice, I realized I hadn't yet been in the snow. Therefore, I laid underneath a tall tree in my front yard. It was starting to get late, so the sky above me through the branches was a dark bluish gray. The snow made everything quiet from the insulation it gave. And although I was cold, I lay there for over half an hour. One of my favorite things about laying there was noticing how the branches on my tree were so evenly spread out, yet still connected. They were like extending arms from each other, supported by one strong trunk, with the snow itself laying on the branches. The glow of the streetlights lit up the icy road, lights softly fading to now much bluer sky. All around me was purely beautiful, even though something I would see every day. That scene is something I want to paint, an idea saved from my grandma. The beauty around us is something I think we all take for granted. The artisticness of what is nature is surely exciting to see, somehow still going mostly unnoticed and unrecognized. Now, I would like to thank a few people who have really helped bring out my true self, both this last year of middle school and my life. I would like to thank my advisor, Mrs. Karr. Thank you for always supporting me when school is hard. Whenever I'm having a bad day, you understand, without the intent to try to fix me. Thank you. Thank you, Grandma and Grandpa, for supporting me. Whenever I'm with you, I am the happiest. I always appreciate our time together, and I love to visit. I love you both so much. I would like to thank my sister, Kala, for always being there. No matter what I do, you are always supporting me and backing me up. You are the person who I am with most, and I'm so glad. Seeing you in the halls here at Collegiate always brightens my day, even if it's only for a few seconds, and I always enjoy playing volleyball or video games with you. I love you both so much. Having these people in my life makes me the most content, which brings us back to the quote I stated in the beginning. Contentment is not the fulfillment of what you want, but the realization of how much you already have. I have found where I'm most grateful, and I wish for you all to find it too.